Carlos Nelson with What's Up Kansas City. And tonight we have one of our city councilwomen, Miss Ryana Parks on. We're going to have a real short discussion on why she voted against the new city manager, Brian Pratt. And we're going to touch one or two quick issues. How you doing, Ryana?
I'm good, Carlos. Thank you for having me on today.
All right. You're looking really well. Got the nice Christmas behind you. Everything going all right with the family?
Yep, everybody's good. Just trying to make it through this 2020.
All right. Tell our audience a little bit about why you voted no for the new city manager, Brian Pratt.
So I, ultimately my reasoning for not supporting the city manager, Brian Platt, with the affirmative vote was mainly because of his limited years of experience. The other candidates that we interviewed on average had about 26 years of experience. And I felt like with given the budget cuts that we need to make, given where the fact that we know a recession is looming, that I felt like we needed somebody that had experience dealing with the things that we are going to experience here in the next, 8-10 years or however long that's going to be before we come on the other side of this. And so my no vote was initially surrounding just the limited years of experience.
So it had nothing to do with race or anything?
Well, at the time that I made that initial vote, I wasn't aware of the racist or the allegations of discrimination at the time.
I'm interrupting you for a minute.
That's okay. That's fine.
My people that watch me, they be like, "You're the rudest person on the planet." But I had been getting comments that there were 3 black or so many black candidates and this and that. And so speaking in your own words, because I'm going to add, I just got finished interviewing Dan Flowers about an hour before, and he wasn't for the city manager for the same reason you said. But then he backtracked. He said, this guy didn't have enough experience. I wasn't in those meetings. He said he had went to about 3 of them. He missed one. But what he liked about the guy, that he thought out the box. And so that's why I say it's so important for our council people to come on the show so that there's no misunderstanding on why one does something.
Right.
And that's why I brought color into race into. Go ahead.
Yeah, at the time that I made the initial vote, I wasn't aware of the accusations or the allegations of him discriminating against and the
in Jersey.
Lawsuit. Yeah,
somebody sent me that, and I'm like, why you send this to me after the contract? And from my understanding, how I got involved, which got the networking involved, Councilwoman Robinson, that Friday had put something on social media about the vote and that these discrimination charges against Mr. Pratt came up at the last minute. And y'all wanted to delay the vote for a week till the next council session. And that's when and then that Catherine Shields, Councilwoman Shields, voted with you. And so as what I call myself, the digital media for the bottom 3/4 of our community, I think our community wants to know why. Because it's, when I was in business, I used to think all decisions that went against me to a degree, and they are, was because I was Black. And some are just business decisions. And I want to take part of the conversation up to point that out to our community. And that is why it is very important for our elected officials, not just city council, to come on the show so that they can say why they did something, and you do not hear it through the grapevine. Grapevine is really kind of drunk on itself. End the story on that. Go ahead, Ms. Parks.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here to, set the record straight as to why I voted the way that I did. Now, I will say, of course, the delayed vote that you talked about, I supported that because it was at that time then that I had been made aware of those allegations of the racial discrimination lawsuits that he had been named in. And I was very disappointed to learn that, and felt that we needed, before we finalized the contract, that we needed to take our time to make sure that we review, first of all, understood those allegations, understood the lawsuit. And then, because we have discrimination issues in our city, we don't need to compound that by bringing in someone else who has those, who's been alleged to have done the same.
And I'm here to say, that's, again, I said, I represent the bottom 3/4 of our community. What kind of representative would I be if I'm not looking into this? Right. Just tell me. Right. What kind of representative would you be if you didn't have questions, and you Black, and we're getting the short end economically for a long time, and you're coming in part of a new era, new leadership in our community?
Right.
And so, where I stand, the white and Black community need to understand that we have new leadership, and you plan to move forward, and you plan to tell the community why you do certain things. Not just our Black community, our white listeners will know why you do something. Right. In the story, can we move forward? And I didn't talk to you about this. Usually I talk to my guests sometime off camera about things, but this Tommy Simmons and this police stuff, we can talk about that at a later date, because that wasn't on the agenda today. But I want to talk to you about that, and your aide has already got on me. Let's yeah, I'm saying about, you got something else to do. Talk to our audience what you see in the next 6 months. Flowers brought up this tax, or whatever, that the earnings tax, something that runs the city budget. I asked him what's important for my community to understand. That, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely that will be coming forward. But if I can, one of the things I would like to share is the fact that, especially since I only have a couple of minutes, I actually filed a resolution, and I'll give you the number, 201059, directing the city manager to establish a chief equity officer position. Because just as you mentioned, there is inequity and there's systemic racism that we have been victim to for many years. And so ultimately, the chief equity officer we will establish a task force to review the practices, programs of the city from a race equity lens, and report to the city council on a monthly basis, so that we can look at accountability measures, so that everything that we do will be evaluated based upon ensuring we have fair and equitable processes, not just within the city, not within the city government structure of those staff, but also throughout the city. And so that is one of the things that I'm excited about. We'll hear that in early January. So if you could have your listeners to support that.
How can Cascade Media Group help you and the like-minded people get that out to our community? If there's anything that we can do, you can have your aide contact me, and if it is make some commercials or whatever, because getting us back on the right economic footing, I think, is the most important thing coming up over the next couple of years, especially in your tenure, with the dollars, the tax dollars, and the dollars that are coming to Kansas City, making sure that we get our equitable share, not our a share, to correct this disparity that has been going on for some time. So,
I agree.
is there any other thing that you would like to say to our community before we exit?
I don't have anything else to say. I would just ask for an opportunity to come back and talk with you again at some point in the future. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today.
All right. As we